Hey, hello friends. I'm so delighted to be here. And then we'll discuss in detail about BTP and SAP Build. We have another 3 minutes. Let's wait for our friends to join. And meanwhile, please feel free to send a message in the chat so that I can see, okay, it's working. Maybe better thing is you can send a message saying either you are a technical consultant or functional consultant. That way it would help me how to tweak my presentation, how in detail I need to explain. Ruhani, wow, thank you so much, Ruhani Garg. And I know that you are a technical consultant, and that's great. Now let's wait for other people. But anyways, before starting the presentation, I'm going to take a quick poll to know how many of you are from functional background and how many of you from technical background, so that I will have an idea to what extent in detail I need to explain. Either I can simply say an entity, or I need to say entity is like a table structure, or I will get into the details. I know that you are a technical consultant. And Krishna Sai. Krishna Sai is, I know him. He's EWM functional. Great. And by the way, if people like Krishna Sai, Ruhani, whoever are there from LinkedIn, please type in your name so that I know you are there. And if at all possible, meanwhile, please watch 3 short videos. I provided the links in the chart that will give you a baseline understanding of what we are going to discuss. One more minute, we'll wait for the people. Meanwhile, can somebody like to text me in the chat? What is the expectation? See, to be honest with you, covering diversified audience in one session would be difficult considering the expectations, because different people have different expectations. Now we know that. A manager wants to understand a big picture of BTP, and I'm basis consultant. I want to be a techno-functional consultant. How BTP will help us? That's a good point. Basis techno-functional. Interesting. We'll see that. Prasad, my humble request is, meanwhile, could you please watch my short video, What to Learn on BTP? That will give you, see, the point is, in the session meant for various categories of people, we can't address specific question. I will see how to address them as far as possible, but better to look at my short video of 2 minutes. The title of the video is What to Learn on BTP. In fact, that will help you get the answer to this question. That's great. And let's wait for a couple of minutes. Yeah. Functional, that's great. Just to be sure, so that we understand and we are talking the same language. SAP Build can be used by anyone. It's not only for either technical or functional. Tushar, yes, how are you? Yeah, I know that you are. Yeah. So SAP Build can be used by either functional or technical, or in fact, need not to be either functional or technical. Even a manager can build something that is relevant for him. That's that sort of flexibility is there. It's 8-1. Let's do one thing. Yeah, FICO, that's great. Again, functional. I want to understand how BTP helps functional consultant. Yes. Just for clarity's sake, please note that BTP is not a specific tool. It's not one tool. It's like SAP S/4HANA or ECC. It's a platform. When I say platform, there are multiple services and tools on the platform. You choose what is relevant for you. So you can't learn BTP. So Tushar, I think you need to see my video. I'll play that in a while. You can't learn BTP, neither me. We need to choose what is relevant for us on BTP and learn that. Okay, let's give another 1.5 minute or 2 minutes, then we will get into the details. Normally, it gets late for the people to join. Meanwhile, here is the quick, in fact, a tip or trick or whatever you call it. See, as everything is changing because of generative AI, once a capability or capacity depends on how keen they are in asking a question. Please note, with generative AI, answer is not important. Every chat GPT can give you the answer, but the crux lies in the question. Whoever can ask the question that can exactly fulfill their requirement with the all required details would be the winner. Why I am saying that is, let's say for example, in a while, we are going to use Joule that creates the code and generates the application for you. Now the point is, you would be effectively able to tell Joule what to do when your capability to ask a right question is at high level. That's the point. So Trinath, I would like to understand how BTP innovation helps in SAP SCM transformations. Okay, we'll get into the details. It's already 8:04, so whoever are there, we will go ahead with them. Now, thank you all for attending this session, and then we will see the details. Please note, as I said a couple of minutes ago, while addressing diversified audience with diversified expectations, it would be a bit difficult to satisfy every one of them because everyone is expecting a different aspect of it. But I will try to how to address that issue. Now, before actually getting into the details, I'll play a short video and then I'll come with the presentation and then two short demos. One demo is creating an application with Joule and another demo is also an SAP Build. Now let me play a short video on this. Welcome back to Build with Venkat to learn SAP Build. Recently, two of my friends, one is SAP functional consultant and the second one is ABAP developer, asked me to post more on BTP as they want to learn BTP. My answer was, no, you can't learn BTP. Well, let's see the details. Have you ever seen anyone who has learned SAP? No, they know SAP and then they learned a part of it or a couple of parts, at the most a few parts, but not entire SAP. Let's see my case. My SAP learnings on functional side are I learned WM, EWM, SD, LE, FICO. On technical side, I learned SAP security, SAP workflow, EDI, IDOC, and then ABAP program reading, debugging. I have also done projects on all those areas and got certified by SAP. But Have I learned SAP? No, only a few areas of it. The same is true with BTP. We can know about BTP, but we can't learn entire BTP. So there are two options. Either you want to know or you want to learn. If you want to learn, my sincere advice is please don't spend much time on BTP level. Once you have a reasonable understanding of BTP and clear with the importance of BTP, please choose a specific service which is relevant for you and then start learning. As we know, for SAP functionals and developers, SAP Build is the right tool to start with. So let's get into action of learning. That's it for today. We'll come back to you with another video soon. Till then, bye-bye. Oh yeah. So I played this video to let you know two things. One is about my expertise. I worked on all those aspects, and currently I am working on FICO and BTP with a specific focus on SAP Build. Now, the second objective of playing this video is to let you know that BTP is not a tool, it is a platform. On that platform, there are around 100, close to 100 services and tools. The choice is choose the right tool or service relevant for your expertise and start learning that specific tool. Now, the flow of the presentation, the entire session is I'll provide a brief presentation of 15 minutes and then two demos. Now let's get into the details. Let me share the screen. So before getting into the details, could you please take out your smartphone and scan the QR code so that you would be able to take part in this survey, so that we know functional, technical, manager, and others. That way, it would help me as I was explaining to the people who joined earlier. It would give me a picture of the profile of the participants so that I tweak my presentation accordingly. And I can also, we can instantly see the results here. The moment you provide the feedback, please scan the QR code and then choose the right option that's relevant for you. We can see the results here. I'm going back to share the, yeah, here is the QR code. And another quick survey is how many of you actually seen BTP? How many of you have actually, even if it is trial account, that's perfectly all right. I will see the results later maybe. So even if it is, have you ever used any service tool on BTP? Yes or no? So for this, please scan the QR code. Please scan the QR code and choose either yes or no. Even if it is a trial BTP account, that's all right. Please scan this QR code and then answer yes or no. Now, let's go back with the presentation. Where is the QR? Oh, you don't see the screen? Oh, I am sorry, dear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that was a mistake. Okay, thank you so much for writing that. Now let's go back. Here is the QR code. Please scan the QR code and then take part in the survey. Either you are a functional consultant or a technical consultant. Once you are done with that, please scan this QR code and choose yes or no, whether have you used any sort of service on BTP, even if it is trial account, that's also okay, or not. Okay, now let's, yeah, functional, technical, okay. That's okay, we will see, maybe it takes time. I will see the results later. Now let's get back to the presentation. So, one second, let me check whether everything is okay here. On, perfect. So the big picture of the BTP and with a specific focus on SAP Build. Agenda is technological innovations at large, SAP's cloud strategy, big picture of BTP, and the necessity of clean code. Please note, clean code, very important. Now, on stock versus side by side extensibility and the details, we will see them. The first one is the technological changes. By 2030, 50 billion connected smart devices will be there. What it means is 50 billion smart connected devices on every single day will be collecting the data, analyzing the data, and sharing the data. In that sort of environment, innovations are inevitable in every aspect of life. The same is true even with the business. Now, let's see, and we all know what happened during COVID around 4 years back. There was virus in the external environment, and the businesses that couldn't adapt their policies, strategies, and processes in line with the changes in the external environment suffered big losses. We know that. And we know the recent generative AI example as well. Around a year back, nobody knows what is generative AI or ChatGPT. In the span of 12 months, it's all there in everyone's life. Even if you are not using ChatGPT or generative AI as a person at individual level, it is there in the tools that you are working at workplace. For example, SAP, it is there. The point is, any company or business that cannot adopt its processes and strategies or policies in line with the changes that are happening in the external environment cannot sustain it in long run. Here is the question, in fact. I think SAP announced Joule in the month of September 2023. And by the middle of November last month, it could introduce Joule in success factors. And it's also there in SAP Build, which we are going to see in a while. The question is, why SAP within a span of 3 months could include Joule in success factors, and it's already there in build code, but we are not sure when it would be available on S4 HANA on-premise. Maybe it takes 6 months or 1 year, and I'm not sure even after 1.5 years it would be available. Why? The simple reason is because SuccessFactors is a cloud-based platform. Because BTP and Build Code are cloud-based platforms. So the point I'm trying to drive is two things. One is companies that cannot adopt its processes and do required changes according to the changes that are happening in the external system cannot sustain. Point one. Point two, it is possible only the application is on cloud based. If it is on premise, it takes long time, and in certain cases, even if it is not, even it is not possible, in fact. So the point is, SAP can't sustain in isolation being on-premise when the trend is cloud. Cloud is the only way. Now, SAP understood this very well. That's the reason SAP is betting very big on cloud. If you see their Q3 2023 cloud revenue, it was 3.1 billion euros. If you annualize it for a year, it would be 12.4 billion euro. But their 2025 target is 21.5 billion from cloud. You see, this is almost over 9 billion increase in the span of just 2 years. Okay, just 2 years. On any parameter, this is very ambitious target. But SAP is promoting their cloud products all in all. So now let's see what are their top cloud products. There are many, but the top ones are S/4HANA Cloud and then BTP, Business Technology Platform. To promote these two cloud products, they have come up with two different packages, promotion packages. They are Rise with SAP and Grow with SAP. The objective of these are Rise with SAP and Grow with SAP are not products, they are packages. As part of those packages, they give the core S/4HANA or cloud application, and also they add BTP. Please note, with these two products, BTP is by default there. And on BTP, SAP Build is also there. So this is the conclusion. The more SAP succeeds in its cloud strategy, the more customers would be using BTP and SAP Build. In a span of 2 years, I think, this is my understanding. By 2025, when the cloud revenue of SAP reaches 21.5 billion, almost my understanding is 60 to 70% of SAP customers would be on cloud and then using BTP and the SAP Build. So SAP would be in completely at peak importance. It will go bigger and bigger, and this is the right time to learn it for both technical and functional consultants. You can ask any questions in the chat. I'll see that in a while. Now, benefits of cloud. I don't spend much time on this, as I understand this is at a high level, and people who are in the session looks like basically technical and functional consultants, and it is at people who want to have big picture. For them it is relevant. Faster innovation, staying relevant in the market. We have seen what happened during COVID and the example, and we also know what is happening with generative AI, Joule. On cloud-based platforms, it's easy. Quickly, they can get it done. And the subscription model, this is very important because it's not anymore the classic way of one-time sale revenue of a software. When you are on cloud, you are paying on every single month. That's what you are doing with Amazon subscription, for example. So investors of SAP, everyone, whoever has the shares of SAP, love that because this is sustainable and assured revenue for longer period of times. Now, competitive advantage for SAP, and finally, vendor lock-in. For sure, once you are on cloud, the customer is on cloud, and for them, SAP is forever. Even the CEO of the company wants to go to another ERP. I don't think it is easily possible for two reasons. One, when you are on cloud, you are not only using SAP S/4HANA system, I mean, for ERP purposes, you are also using many other integrated services of SAP and BTP. So it's difficult to get rid of them. And also the data is on cloud, and it would be difficult to migrate the data from cloud to another ERP provider, if at all you want to go. So vendor lock-in, SAP would be there forever. Maybe that's a strategy for SAP. Now, what are the challenges? Everything is good. SAP is betting big on cloud, but what are the challenges? Yes, there are two main challenges. One is integrations, and the second one is upgrades. Listen, integrations. For example, any customer, they don't just use SAP. they also use many other applications for different purposes of the business. Now, in the last 10 years, 15 years, or 20, 30 years, those customers invested hundreds of thousands and millions of thousands, or maybe, yes, years of time integrating their SAP application with all other associated applications. Now, if you want to move to cloud, what about those investments? That's a big challenge. Then they need to address that issue. The second one is upgrades. See, maybe the customers now, when they are on premise, they go for upgrades maybe once in 3 years or 5 years. But we know that during upgrade, it takes a month or 2 months, and still many things break. We do rigorous testing. These are breaking because of the custom code. So what happens after we move to cloud? The customers move on to cloud. There would not be any customer specific upgrades. It's like your mobile phone. On a specific day, specific time, let's say, for example, December 31st, 12 a.m. in the night, click on a button, boom. All customers will be upgraded to the next version. Now the point is it possible when there is a lot of custom code within your application? No. SAP can't do the upgrades just like that, because it may break the custom code, or custom code may break the upgrade. So what is the solution for that? The solution is BTP. Yes, the solution is BTP. And for addressing the integrations issue, they have integration suite on BTP. Integration suite is much flexible, and the point is there are pre-built connectors, and you can connect your application with any third-party applications just like that. And for upgrades, the solution is keep the core clean. Again, keep the core clean. Here is where we talk about, in this context, we talk about SAP Build. Now, what is keeping the core clean? Let's see that. Clean core is the approach where the core system, when I say the core system, I'm referring to SAP S/4HANA system, remains as standard and as untouched possible. As standard and untouched as possible. What does it mean? It doesn't get into mind. It is just like a philosophy. The point is, you shouldn't modify, you should not modify any standard code to fulfill your requirement, except wherever there are bodies. That's what SAP is saying. Please note, even if it is, I'll come to that after a while. And clean core, there are multiple dimensions. It's not only extensions. When I say extensions, I'm talking about modifications in the code, or maybe coming up with other new processes on S/4HANA system. So extensibility, data. Okay, let me take a razor. Yeah. Extensibility, data, integrations, processes, operations. There are multiple dimensions. We don't get into those details. We focus mostly on extensibility. We discussed on integrations briefly. Now, how to achieve clean core? Just for clarity's sake again, extensibility, modifying the standard code. Why do we do that? To fulfill our requirement. Now, the point is, without modifying the code, how do you fulfill your requirement? We'll discuss that in a while. Now, for extensibility, for modifications, there are two options: on stack, side by side. What is on stack? On stack is on your on-premise S/4HANA system, or basically your S/4HANA system. Either it is on-premise or on cloud, your S/4HANA system. This is on stack. This is one way of it to do your all extensions, or wherever you need to have a different process. And this is on BTP. This is called side-by-side extension. Just the summary in a sentence. To modify your code, to fulfill your requirement in the process, there are two options. One is on-stack extensions. Second one is side-by-side extensions. On-stack extensions is on the application S4HANA application, and side-by-side extensions on BTP platform for the same S4HANA system. You do the change here, but that gets reflected here. That's the point. Now, SAP says classic extensibility with above development tools is not clean code. Please note that. This is very important, because if you still continue modifying the processes following the classic above development tools, then your system is not cloud ready anymore. When you want to move to the cloud, it would be a big trouble. Please don't think that your company doesn't move to cloud. My understanding is every company at one point in time, maybe let's say 90% of companies will obviously move to cloud. Maybe it takes time. It takes time for the people to get accustomed to the change and understand the things that are happening in the external world. For them, it may take a bit late, but it would be there. It will happen for sure. Now, your objective is to keep the core clean and ensure that your application is cloud ready by following side-by-side extensions. Now, how do you do the side-by-side extensions? I take a small break here. Maybe there may be questions before getting into these details, because this one picture, this one image explains everything about three things. What is a clean core? Because you see here, this one is on stack. You see SAP S4HANA. This is on stack extensions, and this one is BTP extensions. Okay. So let me take a quick, not break. Let me go back to the chart. If at all there are any questions, then I'll come back and explain this. Okay, no questions. That's people. If you have questions, please ask me. So again, let's come back. This one, as you see here, this part is SAP S4HANA making the changes using the key user extensibility tools. This is perfectly all right. This is part of clean core. And the developer extensibility tools, we need to discuss that. And wherever the bodies are, that's perfectly all right. And even if user exits are not part of clean core. Yes, I know that the purpose of user exits is to modify the code wherever is required to suit the business requirements. But still, we know that many times the code that is there in user exits breaks the upgrade, or upgrade breaks the code. And SAP says that's also not advisable. This is on S4HANA, on stack. And for BTP, as you see here, you see there is a lot of scope, in fact, for both functional and technical, doing many things even without writing a single line of code. For example, to automate the process across backend systems, you have SAP Build process automation. As you see, this is here green color. You see, green is for functional people. Of course, developer also can use it. When I say functional, whatever the functional can use, developer also can use that. The point is, you don't need to write a code. Now, to build web applications and mobile applications, there are two ways. One is build apps, where you need not to write a single line of code. And the second one is build code. You see, SAP Build is very big. SAP Build is very big. SAP Build, within SAP Build, there is SAP Build process automation, and there is build apps, and there is build code. This is build. Okay, let me take a pen. This is build code. This is build code. And within build code, there is Joule. You know that. Last month during TechEd, SAP announced Joule, which creates the code for you just by taking instructions from you and creates an application. And we follow cloud application programming model in build code. And there is SAP mobile services to build mobile applications. And once the service is built for SAP, you follow either freestyle SAP UI5 or templates, few element templates. Please note, if the functional consultants need not to worry when I use these technical terms, seemingly technical terms, that's not a big deal. We'll discuss that in detail, but just be happy and relax. Or if you have any question, please put that in the chat. Now, there is another option using to build applications, web applications and mobile applications using above programming model, RAP, but we are not going to discuss that part. Okay, so this is about it. Now let's, I think I stop here and then we will go for the demo. The demo is within build code, how can we use Joule to create an application just by listening to or taking instructions from you. Okay. OnStack, can you please explain again? OnStack is your S4HANA application. OnStack is your S4HANA application. So whatever you modify, let's go back. Okay. As you see here, following classic above development tools is not clean code. Simple. If there is no body, the best way would be to develop that on BTP. That's in simple terms. Okay. Now let's go further. Okay. Now build code. We talk about build code. See, I explained you about build code. This is a tool announced by SAP during TechEd last month. Now we will build the app using that. Before building the app, because there are both technical and before the building the app, because there are both technical and functional consultants, let me play a short video of 2 minutes so that everyone will start on the same page. Welcome back. Today I'll explain the basics of building an app for SAP functional consultants. By the way, an app is the short form of application. So, as I said in one of my posts, an application on BTP is like a ZT code on SAP GUI. With this understanding, let's get into the details. The question is, what are the basic components of building an application on BTP using SAP Build apps? To understand this better, let's take an example. The example is the video that you are watching now. Let's take a step back and see what happened before you started watching the video. You were scrolling through LinkedIn, saw the video, saw the play button, and then clicked on the play button. Seeing the video, seeing the play button, and clicking on the play button is one part, which is called UI, which is user interface. Because you as a user are interfacing with the application, in this case LinkedIn, So whatever you see as an user and do as an user is called UI, user interface. Now let's see the second part. When you clicked on the play button, the application understood your requirement and responded to that requirement by sending a call to get the data. This part, understanding the user action and responding to user action, is called logic. Now let's see the third part. When the call has gone to the backend server and it took the data and came back here, so there is a backend which supplies the data. So that part is called data resource, because that's providing the data for the application. So basically three components: UI, logic, and then a data resource. Now let's take a real-time business example where you want to create a simple application on BTP using Build apps to get the business partners from the backend. Okay, now the basic thing is, in any app there are three components: UI, logic, and the database tables. That's it. Just for common understanding, let's say, for example, you take a T code on SAP GUI, either VA01 or ME21N, whatever the T code is. The transaction code that you see or you interact with, where you enter the data, is UI. That UI is calling a program. And the program where the logic is, that works and then modifies the database tables. That's it. If at all you take a Fury app, the Fury app that you interact with on browser is UI. That UI calls the OData service, and OData service interacts with the database tables in the backend. That's it. Very simple. Now, let's go to build code. You want to see the tool build code? Give me a second. Okay, this is build code. You see the screen? I think everybody sees the screen. If at all you haven't seen earlier, okay, give me a second just to be sure. This is okay, and this is okay. Yes, you must be seeing the screen. Let's go back. So this is the build code. In fact, it is SAP Build platform, SAP Build lobby, where there is everything. Build process automation, as we have seen on the slide, SAP Build apps, and also SAP Build code. So we want to create an application with Joule. Click on Create button and build an application, because it's not a process and it's not a site. And here you have two options: SAP Build Apps, as I said earlier, and SAP Build Code. This is completely no code tool. You don't write anything code. You don't write any code. This is SAP Build Code, where there are options either to write a code or to create an application with visual development, exactly like a build apps. You don't write a code, you just choose some of the elements, but maybe a bit of code, 70% could be visual development, and 30% or 20% would be code. And third option is using Joule. Joule writes the code for you. Now choose build code and two options, either only UI application or full stack application, including front end and back end. We choose full stack application. And here, let's choose, let's create an application, demo application. And you choose this namespace is for data model. I simply say data model. Now here is the question. People ask, what is data model? Okay, that's a good point. Now let me take another 1 minute. Go back here. Okay. So best before getting into the details, you see, whenever there is an application, there are three things, as I said earlier: UI, and then service, and then database tables. For example, VA01 transaction code, that's UI, that interacts with the program, not the service, with the program, and the program updates the database tables. If it has Fury app, for example, Fury app is the front end UI, and it calls a service or data service, and the service updates the database tables. In an application, basically, there are three people involved: backend developer, front-end developer, and the functional consultant who takes the ownership of the app and then does the testing and finalize the requirement with the end user and so on. But this is the old way of doing things. In the new way, one person can do everything. Or in fact, that one person can take the help of Joule and ask Joule to do it. Now that's what we are going to do. So just for clarity's sake, when a database tables, we call it data model in build code, and a data model has entities. Entities are like table structures in SAP GUI, point one. And point two, entities have properties like fields in classic way of saying it. You remember those two things. And service, the same. What we call it OData service there, we call CAP service here. That's it. So forget about this. If you are a functional consultant, need not to be worried about those terms, even those terms. Now let's go back. For data model, I am giving the name data model, and for the service, I am giving the service name demo, and I am choosing full stack application development space and create. Now it takes a couple of minutes to create the project. Then we will go to the development environment. That's basically BAS, Business Application Studio. That has become part of build code, or in fact, build code is calling BAS in a way. Please note, just for clarity's sake, that would look like too much of information when you are hearing it first time, but the more you spend time looking at it, it slowly gets into it. That's not a big deal. The point is interest and time. That's it. Everybody can get there. Any questions you want me to answer meanwhile when it is creating? Oh, no, dear. I'm not technical background. I'm a functional consultant. Please note, completely functional. Just for clarity's sake, if at all somebody is thinking I'm from technical background, no, you see my profile. I'm functional consultant, but I have a big picture of various aspects of SAP. So I understand that quickly. And in fact, being a functional, I can imagine everything end to end. What is the expectation of the end? Oh, I'll tell that later. Let's get into the project. Demo. A demo, it's a project name I gave, you know that. And it's calling SAP Business Application Studio. Everything is loading. Please see here, data model and service. We have discussed that, right? Data model and service. You see data model, database tables, that's okay. Service. These two things are under here. And this is a freestyle application. This is for UI development. For UI development, and when I say UI, it's basically the way user interacts. For example, in a T code, where you enter the data, that's UI. That's it. We'll discuss the details later. And this one is if you want to develop UI with the templates, very templates. And this is freestyle. From the scratch, you can develop using SAP UI5 JavaScript. See, this is my understanding. Being a functional person, having technical understanding of things. When you can explain in a way that everybody understands, the line between technical and functional is getting thinner and thinner by the day because of new tools. Functional people with business process understanding and have desire to learn new things, they can get it, even if it is technical. Because the new tools are built in such a way that are helpful for even for functional people. Having said that, please note, even if you are a developer, you can still use those tools and make your life easier. That's it. Any questions? It's loading. It take see, it is bringing up, setting up the system. As you can see here, it is making ready all the tools and templates that are required for you to create an application. It's preparing the development environment for you. Yeah, somebody says on-premise for BTP, yes, we use cloud connector. If you are on-premise and you want to connect your on-premise system to BTP, you use cloud connector. What is cloud connector? I have a 2-minute short video on this. You can see that on my YouTube channel. That's very simple. That's because see, basically the point is being a technical or functional consultant, being a developer or functional consultant, you need not to understand. I mean, you need not to do that. BTP admins do that. You need to have just an understanding of how it works. That's it. So once this is ready, we'll work. This is Joule. You see, this diamond is Joule. We will ask Joule to create an application. This is Joule. And there are guides. You can just follow the guide, and these are step-by-step guides to build an application. It tells you everything. It tells you how to build a data model, including how to build a data model, including the properties, and then the annotations, everything. I mean, I don't want to use those terms because there are functional people, but functional people, the point is you need not to know it. That's it. This is service center where you connect your bash to backend system. For example, S4HANA system, and get the all OData services to consume them here on bash. Looks like it's taking a bit more time than usually it takes. Let me click on this. Sometimes, oh, okay, interesting. So, okay, this is Joule, as I said earlier, and I'm opening the guide. Guide tells you what to do. Very important here. I must tell you this. See, generative AI and ChatGPT. If at all you use it in your personal life, you can ask anything. Now you can ask about SAP, and then you can ask about a movie, and later you can ask about a story or maybe sports. But here, that's not how it works. Here, everything is context based. Context based. So, when I say context, what does it mean? There are basically 4 contexts when you are developing an application. where Joule can help you. For example, data model and service, sample data, application logic, unit testing. The point is, when you are in data model and service, you cannot ask Joule about unit testing. It doesn't work that way. When you open Joule, it knows where it is. For example, now I open Joule and it is asking me, it is giving me an advice. I can ask Joule to create an application with the entities. So on this screen, I can only talk about data model and service. If I want to tell something to Joule about application logic, it doesn't work here. Something about unit testing, it doesn't work here. So the point is, Joule works in a context, and Joule knows what the context is, where it is. Now, I'm telling Joule to create, please create an app for business partner, business partners with the realistic um, properties, including address, search term, maybe what else? Partner type, etc. Okay. I am asking Joule to create an app for business partners with realistic properties, including that. You want to include any other field, you can do that. Now let's give the command. Please note, this is like a functional spec we give to the developer. But in functional spec, in fact, we maintain too many details. You can do that here as well, but this is a demo. So I'm making it simpler. Okay. So I'm giving it to Joule. Joule is thinking. Okay. Joule is thinking. Now that's very quick. It gave me this entity, and this is the key, unique ID. That's by default. And these are the fields: partner ID, name, address, city, country, search term, partner type. So the point is, if you are not happy with this, you can ask Joule to regenerate so that it creates the entity again with new fields. Or you can copy this code and use in your coding. Maybe you want to develop an application by hand coding, you can do that. Or you can simply accept this. Okay, I am accepting it. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Before getting here, let me show you something. I don't want to miss that. Okay, I don't want to do this. Okay, I'm closing this because you will miss a lot if I straight away go here. Let's go to, or maybe I continue from here. Let's do one thing. Okay, let me refresh it. Any questions meanwhile? Oh yeah. So here you see the storyboard, right? This is the storyboard. So when I created a project, it created a data model. Let's go to the detail view. And there is nothing inside the data model. And this is the name I gave at the time of project creation. This is the service name I gave in the beginning, and there is nothing inside. Okay. Storyboard is the place where you can see everything at one place. Data model, service, and UI. That's all what is there in an app. Okay. Now I'm going to, I'll proceed. I'll do whatever I did earlier now. Please create an app for business partners with the realistic properties like address, set term, partner type, etc. Okay, now I'm submitting the details to Joule. So it created, forget about the fields, we can add them or change them, that's not a problem. Now I'm accepting it. Now let's see what happens once I accept it. I'm going back again. There is nothing here, you know that, right? Now I accept it. Now this code will be added to the application. Once it is, you see here, once it is added, the entity is updated with the fields, and the service is also updated with the fields. And this service is for this entity. Now it would be surprising for you. In fact, the application is ready to preview. You want to see that? Okay, now let's go to, all it took 2 minutes, right? I provided the instructions and it created a service, entity and service. Now the app is ready for um, preview, not the actual app, it is for preview. So when I am running it, please forget about whatever you see here. You need not to be worried, what is this code? We don't care about it. We need not to know about it. Okay. Don't worry. Again, as I said earlier, what is running here, it's not, we need not to know that. Now it opened again here. And then this is the business partners service we created. Now let's go to this one. You see, the app is ready with this even sample data. And this is the header, this is the filter bar, and this is a table with the required fields. This is the list report page. And if you want to see the details, it will take you to the object page where you can see further details. This is it. It's there. It took maybe 2 minutes, right? Now you can play with that. If you want to add logic, you can add it. And if you want to add further fields, you can add them. You can do many things. Now, just for the sake of clarity, let me add logic here so that it would be good. Okay, let me go back. Let me close this, go back here. Now we are adding the logic, okay? So for logic part, again, we go to generative AI. Let's close this terminal here. We go to generative AI, application logic, and then create logic. Now Joule opens again. Let's stop this. So choose the service. This is the service because we are adding the logic in the service, okay? And then here you can just give a name. It's like an include in the standard program. You can give a name, any name. I'm not changing anything. Now, you choose the event when you want your logic to be triggered, before, on, or after. For me, on at the time of the creation, for example, and at the time of updating the record. Okay. Now, this symbol is also indicates Joule. Open code editor and choose application logic. Joule comes. Okay. Now, please throw information message saying Venkat is a trainer in SAP Build TR SAP Build when the first name contains Venkat. Okay. So the logic I want to add is here, this is empty, right? There is nothing here. Now, please throw information message saying Venkat is a trainer in SAP Build when the first name contains Venkat. That's it. Now I am giving the instruction to Joule. It is thinking again. Oh, the function is ready. You see, it created a function and it is explaining what the purpose of the function is. Now, if we accept it, it will be added to the code. I'm accepting, okay? Accepting it. It is added in the code. Now let's test the logic, whether it is actually working, okay? Go to here and then let's test this. As I said earlier, don't worry about what you see that's running on the screen now. Okay, now let's test it. I'm creating an entry, business partner, and this is the ID. Let's put it something like that, and then name. Let's say Venkat. We want to test the right, and Search term could be anything. Let's say for our purpose, we use SAP Build dot training at gmail.com. SAP build.training at gmail.com. Okay. Now let's try to save this. You see, we got the message. Venkat is a trainer in SAP Build. Okay. So the logic is working, right? Now let's close this. So this is the simplest demo to show how Joule helps you to create an application. Now let's go back and see if there are any questions. Oh, yeah, somebody is asking, is Joule a free version? It's not there in BTP trial account as of now. Maybe they will add it soon, but for now it's not there. You can't access it for now. Yeah. Yeah. So once they add it, maybe you will get it. And any questions on this? Otherwise, we will see another demo about build apps. Or maybe it's already 1 hour. What do you think? We see that that's an interesting, because here you saw the code. In build apps, you don't even see any code. That's like drag and drop. You can build, or maybe let's do one thing. We will debate about a scenario and then see whether to actually do it or not, just for the sake of please participate in the debate by sending the message. I would be more than happy, because you can relate that requirement with your daily work. Okay, let's go to PowerPoint presentation, and I'll give you a scenario. Okay, this is the requirement in MM. Anybody can understand. Forget about whether it is MM or not. So as of now, what happens is when you let me go to slideshow from current slide and choose the eraser. Now, as of now, what happens is in sourcing and procurement or MM module, when you issue a purchase order, the supplier vendor sends you the delivery with the products, and you unload it, and then do the goods receipt and then inspection lot. The point is, you can do the inspection, the quality inspection of the products only after doing the goods receipt, meaning that only after you have the goods within your system, you can do the inspection, the check. But my requirement is, I want to visually inspect the products even before do the goods receipt, because once I do the goods receipt, if at all I'm not happy with the products, the liability or the responsibility of returning the goods lies on me. I don't want to do that. That's an headache for me. So I want to do the visual inspection of the goods just by looking at the product even before I do the goods receipt. And if they are damaged, for example, I don't want to receive it. I send it back. But I want to record that in the system so that I can use that information for evaluating the vendor, whether they are sending me the products are in good condition or bad condition, whether I want to give the purchase order again to the same vendor or a different vendor. I need that information. I need to record that in the system. The question is, how do you do that? It's not there. It's not SAP standard functionality, because I want to do that even before goods receipt is done. So how do you achieve this requirement? My simple question is, do you need a developer for this or not? Okay. Now let's take the poll. The poll, let's go back here. Give me a second. Oh, looks like I didn't. Oh, 1 second. I'm sorry. Looks like I didn't share the PowerPoint presentation. That was my bad. Now let me share. Yeah, sorry, I missed sharing the screen. Now I see, you see that. You see here, simple. I don't want to take again much time. Purchase order, delivery, and then unload and goods receipt is the normal process. Inspection lot is the normal process. But in my case, I want to do visual checks even before the goods receipt is done. So how do I create an application, or how do I do that? The question is, do I need a developer for that? Okay, that's let's take the poll quickly on that, and that's very important because okay, do we need a developer for this? So let's download the QR code. Please scan this QR code and tell me yes or no, whether we need a developer or no developer for this purpose. Scan this QR code using your smartphone. It will take you to an URL where you can say yes or no, whether we need a developer for having this functionality or no developer. Okay, again, screen is not sharing. I am sharing, right? No. Okay, give me a second, my friend. Okay, this is the QR code. Please, I think 100% you can see the screen now. This is the QR code. Please scan the QR code with your smartphone and tell me whether you need a developer for this or you don't need a developer for this. Okay, let's see if there are any results. Go to the results, view results, and are you, if that's okay, that's are we this one? Do we need a developer or not? Looks like I'm not sharing. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. Again, screen is not shared. What happened here? Uh, Scroll, cancel this. Shared screen. This is okay. Friends, can you please tell me now whether you see my screen? Can you, do you see? Can you please, somebody text me in the chat? Okay. Okay, forget about that. A poll. So developer is required. No. Let's see in the chart. No, no, no. So whoever said developer is not required, could you please provide the solution in a sentence that doesn't require a developer? Whoever said developer is not required, can you please provide the solution in a sentence? In a sentence, very simple sentence. Okay. If you see the barcode is here. Okay. Anyways, the point I'm driving to, where is that? Make is the presentation. We go to the presentation. So this can be developed, or many things, in fact, because of new tools. This can be developed without requiring a single line of code. We can do it now. Let's do that. Yes, Joule works with the natural language. You have seen it, right? Prithvi, I gave natural language as I speak. Please, I used even please to please Joule. Please create an app with Joule. I use please create an app for business partners. So that's a natural language. You communicate with Joule as you communicate with your friends on chat, as you are writing a message to me now, right? The same thing you do with Joule. No, Krishna, that's a different. See, you do process code when you do the goods receipt, my friend. That's the purpose of explaining the requirement. See, you do everything in SAP only when you do the goods receipt. You cannot use process code in EWM without doing the goods receipt, right? Because it is not recorded in the system. Even your standard processor doesn't know that the goods are there waiting outside of your warehouse. I mean, in standard functionality. Um, so that there is no standard way of doing it. Okay, the point is, let me put it this way. let me first work on sharing the screen. Otherwise, um, shared screen. So that's it. I'm sharing the screen. Now let's go back. Oh yeah, now I'm sharing the screen. Let's go back with our processes. Now we will check how to achieve this requirement without coding. How to achieve this requirement without coding. That's the point. Yes, GR means MIGO, goods receipt. Now I am sharing the screen again and I am there. Basically, let's go back here to the presentation and we use these two things. To achieve this requirement, we use key user extensibility tools for building the OData service. And as you know, we already discussed, for anything, for an app on cloud, only three things: database tables, service, and UI. Okay. So for database tables and service, we use key user extensibility tools. For UI part, as you see on the screen, you see, I think you can see that. Anyway, go to slide. Oh yeah. So here, for the database tables and service, we use key user extensibility. And for front end, we use build apps. Okay. See, for this one, for these two things, service and database tables, we use key user extensibility, which doesn't require a single line of code, and anybody can do that. Even functional consultants can do that very well. And for front-end development, we use build apps. That's very easy again. Okay. Now let's go back to the, any questions meanwhile? No. Now let's go back to the tool. So I am logging into S4HANA system. And this is Fury apps, Fury Launchpad. And I am in a custom business objects Fury app. This is a Fury app with which you can create structures and then OData service, everything. You need not to do anything. System does that automatically. What all you do is you choose what fields you require. For example, I'm creating a demo one. Okay. You need not to do anything manually. Please note that you will be more than happy to know it. Determinations and validations, if at all you want to include a logic, and then backend service. It just this simple flag creates OData service. That's it. And then administrative data, it's like you need a creation date, created by details. You check this one. And then go to fields. Because I chose administrative data, now these fields are by default added. Now for my app, I need PO number. Okay. And then I put it at 10 length. And I also need PO item, and let's make it 5 length, and I need another field to record whether the product is damaged or looking good. So visual check, I call it visual check. Okay, visual check, and I keep it 20. That's it, and I need not to do anything. Okay, now I've published it. So you see the progress here, and you can see the log here. This one is being created. Many of you maybe already know this one, but the point is we use keys extensibility for building the backend and service, and then build apps for front end. So all I did here is adding 3 fields: PO number, PO item, visual check. I did nothing. Anybody can do that, right? Even functionals can do that very well. So what is the consequence? What is it created in the backend? Let's go to the backend. I'm copying this and I'm going to the backend system. And I am going to see this here just to copy I'm not going to explain everything here. I'm here just to copy the table. That's it. I'm copying this. Uh, Going back and display. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Okay, this table structure is created and all the fields are there. You see that, and it is created just now. Okay, and all the fields are there. And as of now, there is nothing inside because we haven't created anything. Okay, if you execute it, you don't find anything. Okay, let me open that in SC16N. Maybe all functionals are comfortable with SC16N. Okay. So there is nothing inside. Now, let me just to show you, you need not to know that, but just to show you, I go to the, we need to add the OData service. It is already created, but I need to add that now. So if you look for your service, you don't find it here because that's not added as of now. Now you go to demo. Oh, the demo there are there, but that's not the one we created now. They are different ones. Ours starts with ZZ1. You see that's ZZ1 is there, right? ZZ1. Okay. So now let's go and add our service and find demo ZZ1. You see this one. Let's select this and add this selected service. Choose the local object because I am not moving it. That's it. Your service is ready. Yeah, everything is okay. Your service is ready. Now if you see, now it is there. ZZ1 demo is there. Click on that. If you are a functional, if you are if you are a technical, functional need not to do anything. They can straight away go to build apps. If you are technical and you are curious to test it, then select that. Go to gateway client and execute. Good. You got 200 code, which means success, and you are happy. Everything is green. That's it. So what we have done so far, simply within 5 minutes or maybe 4 minutes, we built the backend. We built the, what is backend? We built the database tables and we built the service with key user extensibility. Within 5 minutes, we built the required backend. Now the front end part, we use the build apps. Now let's do that. Any questions meanwhile here? No question. So now let's build the front end. For front end, I'm in a BTP trial account. And as somebody was asking about Cloud Connector, and then that's there. I'm not going to those details. Now I need to create a destination to access my backend service. To access this backend service, I need to create a destination in BTP. Okay. Please note, this is again BTP admin's job. You need not to know anything about it. I'm creating a destination. Let's call it demo, YouTube or YouTube demo, and keep it HTTP. And here I provide the host and port. Please note, this is not a real host and port. This is from a real one is maintained in Cloud Connector, and this is virtual one. That's the reason I just put it host and port simple. This is not actual host and port of your backend system. Okay, the real one are maintained in Cloud Connector. So this is host and port, and I copy the remaining part from here. Okay, this is your OData service. Copy and paste here. That's it. Nothing more. Very simple. Now choose your on-premise system as proxy, and authentication, choose basic authentication, and give the user ID and password. You are almost there, and add three properties which are required to access the destination in Build Apps. App driver, you need not to know them by heart. You can write them somewhere, or in fact, it will be done by your basis, BTP admin person. Web EDI enabled, true. And finally, HTML5 dynamic destination, yes, true. That's it. You are good to go. Now save this and check the connection. Yes, it is successful. Now let's log into BTP. Sorry, Build Apps. I'm sorry, Build Apps. Let's log into Build Apps. SAP Build Apps. We quickly create a app. So I'm creating an app, build an application, choose this one, and choose YouTube demo, or maybe quality check app. Okay, I want to check the quality. I want to check the quality of the product before I actually do the goods receipt. So in this, it's already too late and I cannot explain everything what is here. So I'll quickly go about doing the things. The point is what I am doing for now, not how I am doing, because to know how I am doing, I need to explain and it takes time. So here I am adding the destination. So I am installing the destination and enabling this one. This is the fields, right? These are the fields added. PO number, PO item, visual check. I'm enabling this entity, saving it. That's it. Now I go back here and go to the data variable and create a variable to the backend. See, please note, the functionals are technical people. I'm trying to give a demo covering many things in a short span of time. So I'm not explaining in detail. That's the reason maybe you are missing something, but don't get afraid of it. That's very easy. When we explain the details, it would be easy. Okay. I'm just trying to give you the big picture of BTP and SAP Build, the capability of SAP Build, how you can quickly achieve things using SAP Build. There are many things, too many things that you can do with SAP Build, even without writing a single line of code and being a functional. That's what you need to get now, not how you do it. That takes time. Okay. So I'm adding a data variable to store the data that I get from the backend. That's a very simple explanation. Now I am adding three variables to store the input values. Okay, when the user enters PO number, for example, I need to store that in a variable. So this is PO number. I leave it text. Okay, and then PO item, PO item, and then visual check, visual check. Wow. That's it. Now let's go back to UI. This is where you build the UI part. This is whatever you build here, the end user will see it. Now I'm adding three input fields. 1, 2, 3. That's it. You see how simple it is. In classic way of doing it, the UA developer has to struggle. It takes a lot of time to create even simple input field. For you, drag and drop. That's it. Very simple. Yeah. So here I'm changing the names just for the sake of clarity. Put the name as PO number, and this one PO item. What it means is, while using the app, the warehouse supervisor who is checking the quality of the product will enter the PO number here, PO item here, and the how he feels, whether the quality of the product here. That's it. And quality check or visual check, whatever the way you want to call it, visual check. That's it. Now, when the user enters the PO number, it has to be stored in the variable, then passed on to the backend system, right? So, for that purpose, I bind this PO number to the variable we created a while ago, that is PO number. That's it. Now, PO item, I bind this PO item to the variable that we created just a while ago, that is PO item. The same thing here, very simple. Visual check. Save it. Now everything is ready. Now you want to create a record in the backend. Click a button. What the user does is, the warehouse supervisor goes to the track, checks the quality visually the product, and then enters the PO number, PO item, and quality check, and clicks on the button. The button is record. Record. I am just giving a, whatever you want to select, whatever you want to call it. Record the entry, or record the entry. Record the entry in the backend system. Okay, this is the button. Now, when he click on this button, what should happen? This is logic. Okay, for logic, very simple again. For logic, you add the create. You want to create a record in the backend system. Create a record. Drag and drop this. Create record. And this is the event. When the user clicks on this button, this one should be triggered. The record should be created in the backend system. So for this one, the source is already selected here, and this is the custom object where you are providing the data. You want to pass on the PO number to the backend. So select the PO number. This PO number you are sending to backend, and PO item. This PO item you are sending backend. And finally, how you felt about the quality of the product. Is it good? Is it damaged? That's it. Now the last one. This is the unique ID by default system created. And there are ways you need to generate that on the fly automatically. There are ways to do that. But for this demo purpose, I'm not going to do that because it takes a bit of time. So I am copying and pasting it from my existing. Give me a second. Let me close this. So I copied it from my notepad and then saving it. Oh man, our app is ready. Okay, now let's launch this. Yes, to launch this, go to launch button and then open view tab. This is a quality check app that you built. This is the app. That's how the end user sees it. Please note, if you spend time, you can beautifully design it. It need not to be this bad. You can do, whatever you want to do, build an amazing app using build apps without code. But for the demo, within 10 minutes, I'm building it. Okay. So now enter the PO number. I know that nobody wants to enter the PO number manually. You can choose that from the search tab, from the drop down. You can value help. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do that. But for demo purpose, I am going by this way. Okay. And PO item is, let's say, 10 PO item, and the product is damaged. When I see it, it was damaged. Let me do that. When you click on this one, system, the app creates an entry in the backend table. Okay, it creates an entry because you need to have the record of it. You want to use this information for something else. Okay, so when I click on this one, when the user clicks on this one, they should know whether it is successful or failure, right? So I go back to the app and add a toast message. If it is success, see, there are two ports. The above one is when it is successful. The below one is when it is failure. When it is successful, I am telling success. Okay. Or saved with success. Successfully saved. Fully saved. Successfully saved. Okay. And adding the error message. If at all there is an error, you want to know what is the error, right? So here I capture the error message from the backend. I get the error code and error details. That's it. Let's go back and enter the details, PO number, PO item, and then damaged. Click on record the entry. Oh, you see, successfully saved, successfully saved. Thank you. I'm so happy. You see that, right? The message successfully saved. Now let's go back and check in the backend whether it is actually saved. Oh man, done. You are there. You see, this person, this is the timestamp, created this entry saying this PO, this item is damaged. Not good. So that's the reason the supervisor or me as a supervisor doesn't want to receive the goods. I am sending the goods back to the supplier. So that's it about the second demo, my friends. Hi. Any questions? You can type anything on the chart. What is that? Is it in background creating a CDS view saying we need to activate it? Yes, we can do GR. I couldn't get the question from Vinay. Maybe he can elaborate that. But anyways, that's it. We spent a lot of time. It's already 9:42. So I think if there are no questions, we can end the session. There are questions, please put that in the chat. Anyways, thank you guys for attending the session. Have a great time. Bye bye.